Karelo-Finnish Mythology. Source of publication, Wikipedia. Karelo-Finnish mythology is the mythology of the Karelians and Finns, closely related Finno-Ugric peoples. It is part of the general Finno-Ugric mythology and is directly related to the traditional beliefs of the Finns. Traits of the pagan religion and ancient mythology of the Finns persisted for a long time in the form of various legends, belief in the power of words and spells, and magical medicine practiced by healers who took the place of the famous sorcerers of the north, especially Finnish Lapland. In addition to these remnants, certain accounts by medieval writers, the first Protestant preachers of the 16th and 17th centuries, and scholarly observers of popular life in the 18th and early 19th centuries can serve as material for a scholarly reconstruction of the ancient Finnish religion and the original myths that play such an important role in Finnish epic poetry. History of study. The first list of Finnish gods was given by the founder of the Finnish written literary language, Bishop Michael Agricola. The first attempt at a systematic exposition of Finnish mythology is considered to be the dissertation of Havre Arctopolitana, De Origine ac Religione Femiorum, in 1782, E. Lenquist's work, Specimen Acad. De Superstitione vet. Fenorum, was published. In 1789, Chris Fried Ganander's work, Mythologia Finnica. Of great significance for the study of Finnish mythology were Matthias Castrain's lectures, Vorlesungen über Finnish Mythologie, published in St. Petersburg. This work, like his other articles on Finnish magic and his general overview of Finnish theology and magic during pagan times, pointed the way for further research in connection with the comparative study of the beliefs of other Finnic peoples and the critical genetic study of the origins of the Finnish epic. In 1883, the Finnish Literary Society published Julius Cron's works, On the Pagan Religion of the Finns, lectures on ancient worship dedicated to holy places, images of gods, shamans, ancient priests, and the sacrificial ritual of the Finns and related peoples. In 1890, Nikolai Karazin's seminal work, Russian Lapps, was published. Its extensive fourth chapter discusses the ancient Lapp religion and the traces of ancient beliefs among Russian Lapps in the 19th century. In 1900, Dr. Berthold Kolbach published his essay, The Myth and Culture of the Old Lapps. Also noteworthy are V. Maynov's works on Mordvin mythology, Smirnov's on the Votyak religion, and Vereshchagrin's research on the Votyaks of the Sarapul district of the Vyatka province and the Sosnovsky region. The Finns, like all peoples of the Finno-Ugric and Altaic groups, practiced shamanism, or the religion of magic, in ancient times. Furthermore, traces of veneration of nature, patrons of the clan life, ancestral spirits, and famous demons and heroes are found. The beginnings of deity representations in the form of wooden idols and sacred stones are also found. Pantheon of Finnish gods. According to M. Castrian, the Finnish gods include 1. Jumala, 2. Ukko, 3. The heavenly bodies, the sun, the moon, the Big Dipper and the stars. With the adoption of Christianity, the creator god was usually referred to as Jumala. He was identified with the heavenly deity Ukko, who was contrasted with devils and sorcerers. Following this first category of gods, Castrian lists a series of gods of water, earth, and the underworld. The ancient Finns venerated the sun and fire in a similar way, with fire being considered the son of sunlight. Water was worshipped in Finland in many places in the form of Pagajarv, Pagajoki, Pyavesi. In the runes, Ahti or Otto was revered as the sea lord and master of the water. The Finns envisioned this sea god as a venerable old man with a grass beard and a tunic of sea foam. He is the master of the waters, the king of the sea waves, and the ruler of birds. He acquired his wealth from the immersion of the rich Sampo in the sea. His wife was Velamo. The evil water demons include Hissi, Wesi and Mary Turses. Pantheon of Karelian gods. In the Psalter of Michael Agricola, among the Karelian gods mentioned are the supreme deities, the elder Ukko and the storm god Ilmarinen, the patrons of weather and harvest Ukko and his wife Rani, the patron of hunters Hissi, the patron of fishermen Vaden Emma, the protector of livestock Kekri and others. The afterlife. The afterlife of Manala is ruled by the god Tuoni. The sun shines here as on earth. There is no shortage of water, there are forests, fields, meadows, bears, wolves, snakes, and fish, but the overall character of the land is dark and dangerous. The family of death, Tuonen Ukko, the father, Tuonen Akka, his wife, an old woman with hooked fingers. Kalma, the deity reigning over coffins and the dead. Tuonen Poika, the stern, merciless, and bloodthirsty son. Tuonen Titteret, the daughters, small in stature, with black faces. One of them, Loviator, in collusion with the wind, produces 9 torments on the human race. The other, Kipu Tayuta, the daughter of diseases. A poetic depiction of this world is represented by the famous rune of Vainamoinen about his journey to the afterlife. Only the most skilled and powerful shaman magicians managed to make the journey to Tuonela. The opposite of the bright summer holiday is the holiday of Christmas, celebrated on the darkest night of the year. In Finland, there is not a poor hut in which a candle is not lit on this night. The floor of the hut is covered with straw. Sparrows and livestock are fed abundantly. The Lapps honored Roth, the lord of hell, and celebrated this god on Christmas Eve. Hell, according to the Lapps, is located deep below. Sorcerers went there. The entrance to hell is sometimes through lakes, sometimes through cracks in the earth. Old cannibals live there, possessing the gift of resurrecting the dead. The soul lives closer to the left side of a person, not far from the heart, similar to a pine tree, whose heartwood is closer to the south. When a person dies, the soul goes to God and stays with him for 3 days. Then she returns to earth and travels to the places where she had been before. Behind the gods, light and dark, came a whole series of minor spirit deities inhabiting the earth and water, living in forests and mountains. Lower mythology. Forests and fields are enlivened by a host of patron spirits, Liekio, the wood goblin, Virankanas, the spirit of the oat field, and others. Among the Finns, every object in nature was associated with a haltia, a patron genius. According to Topelius, ancient pagan Finnish haltia survive to this day in the form of brownies. Mountains, lakes, rivers, mountain springs, and even houses themselves have their patron spirits. The Kalevala tells of spirits called mistresses, the mistress of the forest or the mistress of the swamp. The old woman Luhi has a similar status. There is a popular belief about encounters with them by mere mortals. The 19th rune of the Kalevala mentions the water spirit, who prevents Ilmarinen from catching a pike. 60 years ago, small coins were offered as sacrifices to the spirits of water sources. The rowan tree is sacred. If burned, it foretells the future of brides and grooms. Frogs and swallows should never be killed, for the frog was once a man, and the swallow sleeps year after year on the seabed. A spider should be offered a sacrifice of a man's fallen teeth. Snakes hold public gatherings where they consult with one another. Castrian lists 4 categories of spirits: A. Genies and demons of nature; B. Spirits and souls of the dead; C. Spirits of the living; and D. Demons of epidemic diseases. Tontu, the brownie, was treated to porridge every morning. A couple carried curd, butter, and other provisions to their ruler. Mahis lived under thresholds, in trees, stones, and underground. They were offered the first piece of newly baked bread, the first sip of homemade beer, and housewives offered milk to ensure the success of their dairy farms. In general, the Finns have countless spirits. A great number of them inhabited the forests, mountains, and lakes of Lapland. Chajaravgan, the water corpse, lives in the waters. Both of these categories of spirits love music and often play, but no one has ever seen them. The water deities of the Western Finns are endowed with the same love of music. Smiranata is a thief spirit who brings to his master property stolen from others. Cult. The worship of fire and the sun is preserved in the Koko bonfires, which are lit on the eve of Midsummer's Day and sometimes on Trinity Night. They are then called Helivalkea, meaning the fire of the spring festival. Koko are usually lit on mountaintops or somewhere on the water. The burning of Koko is a favorite folk festival. Previously, it was done in honor of Balder, during the sun's highest point above the horizon. Castrian provides little information about the idols and holy places of the Finns. A Scandinavian saga claims that the ancient Bjarmians had a temple on the banks of the northern Divina with an idol of Jumala at its center. Medieval preachers speak only of holy trees. A bull by Pope Gregory IX indicates that the Tavistians chased Christians around holy trees to their deaths as retribution for their rejection of pagan worship. The Lapps' idolatry was more varied. Wood was used to depict the thunder god, hence the name, wooden god. They took a birch tree, fashioned the trunk into a body, the roots into a head, placed a hammer in the right hand, and drove an iron nail or piece of flint into the head. It's highly likely that the idea for such a depiction was imported from Scandinavia. There's a legend in the Edda that Thor, during a fight with Grunner, threw his hammer at him and broke Grugnir's stone into 2 pieces, one of which struck Thor in the head. Another god, Storjunkr, was also called the stone god. According to some writers, he had the appearance of a bird. According to others, he had the form of a man or some other animal. Stones called sides were erected in memory of ancestors. They were scattered in various places, as the Lapps did not bury their dead in burial mounds or dolmens. Sacrifices to the deceased took place near sides. If a side was found guilty of something, it was beaten or a piece was chopped off with an axe to inflict pain. The very spot where the side stood was considered sacred. It was surrounded by a fence, and no one entered without a sacrificial purpose. Women were not allowed near it. In addition to side stones, Lapland also had wooden sides, consisting of a. trees, the roots of which formed a head, and b. stakes driven into the ground. The Lapps retained these temples until recent times. Their locations are listed by Karazin on page 193. Belief in spells is still alive today. They are used to cure illnesses, ensure luck in love, a good harvest, and success in livestock farming, fishing, and hunting. Among the mass of superstitions, there are also effective folk remedies, such as the now accepted massage. The further north sorcerers live, the more respectable their reputation. In Finnish, there are various words for sorcerers: velho, titaja, and loitsija. In Sweden, all Finns are suspected of witchcraft. In Nyland, Tavaslanders are viewed with distrust. In Tavasland, the inhabitants of Osterbothnia are feared. And in Osterbothnia, the Lapps are considered the most feared sorcerers. If a whirlwind swirls somewhere, all you have to do is throw something steel at it to instantly see a Lapp woman stirring it up with her broom. It is impossible to precisely delineate the myths of individual peoples of the Finno-Ugric group of tribes, as preliminary studies on the beliefs of related peoples are lacking, and the necessary research has not been conducted. Castrain's research has so far revealed only the main features of Finnish nature worship, some aspects of tribal life, and ancestor veneration. Scandinavian influences in mythology and demonology have been noted, but shamanism and the sacrificial ritual of the ancient Finns can only be elucidated through further comparative study of the folklore of related peoples: the Livs, Estonians, Sami, Udmore, Mari, and others. Among the Finns, the so-called heroes include Vainamoinen, Louhi, Lemminkainen, Ilmarinen, and others.